Hello everyone, this is my review for TNA Impact Wrestling on January 2nd, 2013. And, for the most part, I felt the show was done really well this week. The building up of making the tag match with Bobby Roode and Kurt Angle, them picking their own partners, and even interjecting Gunner and the James Storm feud that should be coming up here very soon into that, I felt was done extremely well. Like the promo at the beginning of the show for it and everything on that aspect. The whole back and forth with Chris Sabin and Velvet Sky, him trying to go off as this heel type character, going with with his girlfriend who's like this complete babyface type character. I feel like they're pulling that off really well, where he's telling her things what to do, she's trying to resist, but then in the end she kind of helps him out, helping him out win the X Division title this week. So things like that, I think they're pulling things back together to where they were probably about a year and a half ago, where I felt the storylines were a lot better, and then they had died, and then they kind of gone away from doing good storylines, at least in my personal opinion at that point. I also like the building of the EC3 character, just the way he comes off on TV in his promos and matches. I feel are being done really well, and obviously setting himself up for a match with Sting going into the Genesis TV special. I felt that was a good way of going with that one. Also, I like the new direction with the Bully Ray character, where he's still going after Mr. Anderson for the end of Aces and Eights, but you see him as this more quiet, stoic type of heel character. He's not really playing a cowardly type heel where he needs a group behind him. He's going to play this type of heel that, will basically hold his own against anyone, and he's just out there for vengeance at this point in time. And it comes off really well with what he was trying to do, giving Joseph Park the warning before going out there, and then that whole aspect of getting the feeling that he was potentially going to light him on fire by using the lighter fluid, and then Mr. Anderson comes out and makes a quick save before Bully Ray decides to leave. I felt it was a nice little touch there, and it'll be interesting to see where they continue with Mr. Anderson and Bully Ray as well. I'm glad to see that they're moving forward past the whole Gail Kim open challenge. Those open challenge type deals will only last for so long before you have to actually go into a program with someone. And in this case, they're going into the program with Madison Rayne here into the future. And we'll see when they actually decide to continue that one as well. So yeah, for the most part, I felt the show was really good. Match quality again with everything in there was really good, but then again, that's what you typically expect from TNA Impact. They have pretty good match quality in there for all their matches. But the only segment in the show that I felt lacked in anything, or I just felt it was overbooked and took way too long to perform, was the whole main event coronation type deal with Magnus. Magnus being the new world champion. They're doing this special coronation for him for the night. The whole, you have Rockstar Spud out there. He did his promo, then EC3 did a quick promo, and then Dixie Carter comes out there and does a promo. It just felt like it was dragging on and on and on. Eventually, they do bring out Magnus. And this is where I felt that it was actually an overbooked spot. He was cutting his promo, and you would figure at this point, it'd be AJ Styles that would interrupt the promo by either making the crowd, or just showing up in the crowd, and all of a sudden you hear the crowd start getting restless, and then he shows up inside the ring. But no, they have to bring out Gunner first. And I know he just got that whole briefcase from the Feast or Fire for the world title shot, which, again, I'm not a big fan of their whole Feast or Fire type deal. And That's where I felt it was overbooked, because it wasn't really necessary for him to come out at this point to try to make a challenge for the title, because you know where they're going to go with it, because of the whole AJ storyline. You know it's going to be Magnus and AJ. So why tease having Gunner out there at this point when they can use this time to, especially with Gunner being in a potential feud with James Storm here in the near future, why are you going to have him potentially cash in that world title shot when he's probably going to be in the middle of another storyline with someone else? So you know what the world title situation is going to be, and you know where Gunner's supposed to be at this point. They need some more time to build him before he can go for the world heavyweight title. And I just felt with adding him in there was just overbooking the segment. Eventually AJ does come out when you had EC3, Rockstar Spud, and Magnus attacking Gunner, and he makes the save for that. And then again, you didn't really need that spot with AJ saving Gunner. It should have been, at least in my personal opinion, I felt it would have been better off. Magnus is cutting his promo. All of a sudden you hear the crowd becoming restless and everything, and then AJ comes through the crowd at that point in time and makes the challenge for title versus title, and then the match actually happens. But instead you get a little bit of an overbook at the end of the show. And like I said before, it felt like the segment in general was already dragging on as it was. I think it even went through a commercial break, and it's just for a promo. Promos usually shouldn't be going through commercial breaks at that point in time. So overall, with the exception of the last segment, I felt the show was done really well. It came off really good, decent story building leading into their Genesis, not pay-per-view, but their TV special, what they were going to call like a pay-per-view quality type show going on to Spike TV at that point. They had decent build up there, making Kurt Angle and Bobby Roode one more time for inside of Steel Cage. And if I like the stipulation, it's like if Bobby Roode wins, Kurt Angle's gone. He'll never accept the whole TNA Hall of Fame induction and everything on that aspect. That will be a nice little a payoff at the end of the match. And you would assume Kurt will go over. In that case, but you don't know exactly where they're going to go with that. So we'll see where they actually go with that at that point. And I liked the promo. Even though I said the last segment wasn't good, there was one part of it I did like, and that was the promo between AJ and Magnus. They did a really good job building for the match with next week. That they're going to have with the titles on the line. So, like I said, besides the last segment of the show, I felt the show was actually really good. And yeah, that's my review this week for TNA Impact Wrestling. I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.